is where the residents go up. But hopefully you'll go up this side. It's a pretty day.
Hi everybody, it's Leo. We're at the Dils Cemetery, Pikeville, Kentucky. Heather's behind me. We're making our way up the stairs to the graveyard, and we're going to split up and do some videos and show you guys around a little bit. But there's the fire department down there. That's where you park. There's our car down there. But the stairs, as you can see, you know, you've got probably 60, 70 stairs total, I guess, something like that. But here's where the graves start. And it's this beautiful place on up there. I'll show you some of that in a little while. Beautiful place. Great view, especially at night. You have a great view of the city of Pikeville and the cemetery. You get under those great big trees over there. I mean, those things are massive. It's beautiful. But right here, is where I guess you could say they're star residents. Right here. This is where Randall McCoy and Sarah, right there. Now, the gate, let me see if it's not locked or anything. Oh, they've closed it off. They have panels now. It's not a gate, it's panels now. But anyhow, this one right here. Now this one is Roseanna McCoy. And we'll go into a little more detail, you know, about the family and the relationship. And Roseanna, she doesn't want to be here. She didn't want to be here. She wanted to be buried at Aunt Betty's house with her baby. She did not want to be here. This was his idea. Over here, Sam and Martha McCoy down that way. You can see the sign right there. It has, you know, has directions and stuff. Now this right here, this tells a little bit about this cemetery. This was one of the very first fully integrated cemeteries in the country. What was it? Colonel Dils, I think. Yeah, Colonel John Dils. He was, like the sign says, well, there it says right there, he was opposed to slavery and freed many of his slaves. And he allowed a lot of them to be buried here in his family cemetery. These are slave graves here. But his grave is on up there. John Dils himself, he's up there. And we'll be up there in a little while. It's a beautiful, beautiful place up there. Just spectacular view. You'll see, you'll love it. It's beautiful. But there's more on out this way. Those are some old ones there. And you can just tell looking at them, those are old. There was a project that they did, I can't think of the name of it now, where they were trying to identify a lot of the slaves and stuff that were in some of these unmarked graves. And they found a whole bunch of them, and notified their next of kin and all sorts of stuff. And we go on up. There's a Hatfield in the McCoy Cemetery. That does happen from time to time. But there's the little road right there. It comes up, and that's how they bring up, bring coffins and stuff up. Like Heather said, hopefully you come up the stairs, not the road. But there's more of them on out through there. But we want to go out this way. There's the slave section.
I saw in that video yesterday some people were in here. I wonder how you get in there.
I looked at it. These are panels. You have to disassemble these. There's no gate. They disassembled it to open it up. There is no gate.
So is this the little stone behind it? Is that the original?
I wouldn't be surprised a bit if that was their original
Well, it
stone.
has to be, because that and that, Roseanna's,
Right.
not original.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's not a 100-year-old. So his great-great-great-grandmother, Annie, Yeah.
Syck Hatfield, who was
Yeah.
married to F of all. Preacher Ance's brother.
Okay, now Heather, she's going that way, so I'm gonna go up this way. Look at this one. It's an old one. It's like died in 1883 or 43. Can't really tell for sure. It's an older one, that's for sure. Vault's collapsed in on that one. Weeds growing out. There's Sam and Martha McCoy's out this way. They're down over the hill there. There's a little walkway goes down to it. We'll circle back down that way in a little while though. There's some more over here. Some old ones and some new ones. Right together. Now, a lot of these old ones like this, and this is very common around here, you'll see it's just a stone. Sometimes there'll be initials, and sometimes nothing at all. Sometimes they just white paint. They would just paint rocks white and mark the grave, and that was the only marker you had. That's like that right there. It's just and there, and a whole bunch right there. And there's just no name on them. It's just a rock. Like right here, you can tell there's a grave where it's sunken in. You can see the grave right there, but the headstone, I'm not stepping on his grave or her. That's the stone. That's it. It's just a rock. And one of the big trees has fell recently. This is the one grave down here. And the sign, Sam and Martha, they are down there. But we just happen to have a little bit of an obstacle in the way. So I guess we could go around it, but you can get down into some snaky territory if you try. But right there is Sam and Martha. And they go straight up the hill. Pikeville, the downtown Pikeville is straight over that way. It's all out through there. And the graveyard is right in town. Now, a lot of you know that's a baby there. You can tell by the little lambs on top. That's always babies. But Colonel Dils and Randall McCoy, you know, they were big buddies. And they actually had houses, you know, next to each other. They lived next to each other. So they were big buddies. There's a death from 1888, C.M. Parsons. 21 years old. Terrible. Old ones here. Born in 1888 and died in 1890. The old stairs, I remember these from the last time. The beautiful tall pine tree, I remember that. But Colonel Dils, he's right up there on the hill. There's a grave right there. As a matter of fact, you can see the stone. And where the giant tree has came out, the tree is like right on the grave. There's the headstone and the footstone right there and there. And a big hole right there. Now there's another one. You can tell there's another one right there. And a lot of them, like I said, they're just stones by the path. And you wouldn't even know it. You'd walk right by that. You wouldn't know that that was a grave. Except for that one little rock. There's Heather. Look how pretty the graveyard is. That's Randall and Sarah and Roseanne right there in the little fence. And there's the stairs where we originally came up. Slave section out that way. And Colonel Dils up the stairs. I'm back in the brush. Trying to take my time, let you guys look a little bit. I have been told that I tend to move the camera a little bit quick, so I'm trying to avoid that today. And here's one. These little short ones, these usually represent children too, obviously. You know, it's a short grave. So it's either a really short person or it was a kid. And there's a couple more over the hill there. Abraham Leedy, born in 1833 and died in 1913. Gone but not forgotten. Nope, you are not. There's several of them in very, very close proximity. A lot of these, you know, these old graveyards back in the day, a lot of these they had unmarked. And so when you'd go back to dig a grave, you'd run into someone else's grave. You know, they weren't quite as meticulously, you know, laid out the way they are these days. You can see that, you know, like right there, 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 and there. There's 2 more, or excuse me, 5 more, 6 more, 7 more. You know, 8, 9 more, right in this one little tiny area right here, just right below the big pine tree. If you come here, great big giant pine tree, 150, 200 feet tall. He's a big one. Beautiful though. And look at all these together. Just right on top of each other. There's Colonel Dils right up there. We'll get there. We're almost there. This is Lavinia. Look at the graveyard though. Is that not beautiful? I mean, the camera does not do this place justice. It's just beautiful, tall trees. These things have been growing here for a long time. That thing there, oh Lord, just guessing 3-4 feet across, something like that. Great big one. Beautiful though. It just keeps going. Make you dizzy looking up at it. All right, here, this one is John Dils. Now Heather, she'll probably have a whole lot more history about this side of it, Colonel Dils, and you know, some of the stuff on the later side over here on the Pikeville side. She specializes in that a little bit better than I do into the details. She remembers names and dates and stuff better than me too. So we'll let her cover most of that stuff. I just want to show you the pretty view. Yeah. That's all poison ivy, by the way, if you come up here. I know that very well. But they've got a little lookout over here, which there's a tree down on it now. I could almost knock the sign over, and it took out a section of the fence. There's a little, you know, little viewing area here. You can look out over town when they have what is the festival? Hillbilly Days, and fireworks and stuff like that. You can look out over here and watch it all from up here on the view on the hillside. It's a beautiful view. We'll get there in just 1 second. I think we can get there by the corner. But here is the let's see, the Dils Cemetery plaque, and you guys can pause that and read it if you want to. Just leave it there for a minute. Kind of hard. Sorry about the shadow going across the middle of it. Anyhow, we'll work our way around here and just see if we can see the view at all. Yeah. We'll wiggle through here. Man, it really tore that fence up, didn't it? Anyhow, there's the view. And you can see on the other side over there, the old Pikeville College. There's the Alara Library, supposedly haunted. And there's the old Pikeville Cemetery right there. What's her name again? The Hatcher. Oh, we just did a video on her. Can't think of her name right now. There's quite a few. And Cotton Top Hatfield, just on the other side of that little hill. Right, that little hill right there, right on the other side of that is where Cotton Top Hatfield was hanged. The famous Hatfield feud hanging. His death is basically what ended the feud. When they hung him, you know, that pretty much diffused the situation. But anyhow, we'll get into more details about Hatfields and McCoys and stuff in other videos, and you know how their relation, you know, to this. Like I said, the McCoys, Randall McCoy and Colonel Dils, they were big buddies. Just a beautiful place, though. Beautiful little spot, even with a couple trees down. I'm guessing Heather has headed on over to the slave section on the other side. So I guess I'm gonna turn mine off for a minute and head on down that way, and we'll see what she's into. Go find her.
I find very interesting about this gravesite, among other things, is that buried with them is Roseanna McCoy, which is their daughter. And as you know, she was the one who had the child with Johnse Hatfield, which brought a lot of stress to their family. And they had a falling out. But Roseanna died of actually tuberculosis. They say a broken heart, but it's tuberculosis as well. She was about 30, but he must have had some remorse because he did have her buried here with him. She's the only child buried with them. Looks like they've repaired this a little bit. It was kind of falling off the hill here. You can't really read that one. There's even little tombstones in the woods here. So we're gonna walk down here and see what's down here. Sister, Mary Jane Ratliff. (1861, 1889). Not very old.
Just found some more. I've been over here before, and I didn't even know these were here. Old ones too. Really old ones. But this is underneath the observatory. That's where you look down. You know, you can look over the town, the overlook. You know, the college is over here and all this kind of stuff. But anyhow, like I said, I didn't even know these were here. The fence, I've seen the fence before, and I thought that was where I just assumed that was where the graveyard ended at. But just happened to be going down the path and just happened to see these. This is a John Hall Jr. Oh, that's not good. April 4th, 1943 to October 28th, 1943. It's a baby. Well, that one there, I looked at it a second ago. You can't make out the name. It's a homemade headstone. Somebody's just poured concrete and made one themselves. Here is the other path. We couldn't get around the other way because of the tree, but since we came down around this way, we can just come down the hill and get there down the hill this way. That's where the tree's down there. There's an old one. Not legible anymore. It's like GCP initials. About all you can make out on that one. There. That one's laying down. That one's a cinder block. That one's a cinder block. And there's the tree down. Heather back on the other side of it. That was where I got stuck earlier, came around. But right here's where we're going. Now, this is Sam and Martha here. Sam and Martha McCoy. And Sam and Martha down here. Now they're down on the lower end, close to town. There's a little restaurant right there, and there's Pikeville over that way. There's a couple there. There's Sam and Martha. That's the ones we couldn't get to for the tree. I came down that way to come down to this one. And there's another one of those Kentucky infantry sergeant Solomon Johnson, Company G, 39th Kentucky Infantry. No year. This one, born 1848. It's a Dotson. I'm related to them too. No, it's a Johnson. Never mind. Mary E. Johnson. Well, there's a lot of Dotsons and Colemans around here that are also relatives. You'll see a lot of those in, Hatfield and McCoy cemeteries. But this one died 1848 to 1900. Well, this grave here is what, 102 years old? No, excuse me. Yeah. There's one. That's all that's left of it, is just that little, you can see where the grave is right there. But that's the only marker, that one little rock. And here's someone's here. Look at this. Let's look at the other side just to see if it has anything. Nothing on it. I'll put it back the way it was. There. Look at these. Nothing at all on that one. No stone of any kind on that one or that one. And these just have just rocks. A lot of the old cemeteries like that are around here are like that. They're usually painted white, which some of these you can see little tiny bit of white paint here and there where they used to be white. That one's just got a star. What's that one? 1879. Huh. Some old graves here. There's died in 1886. That's the leady one I looked at earlier. But we're back to the stairs and heading back down. But we're gonna head back down. Okay, we're back down at the stairs. Heather's headed off up that way. She's heading up to Colonel Dils.
So it is really hot. I'm just gonna lay against this tombstone, try to cool off a little bit, enjoy the beautiful sirens and scenery.
To do her part, to do her little thing on that, while you and we're gonna go hunting for Basil and Martha Hatfield. Now, he's the, oddball Hatfield in McCoy Cemetery. There's a couple of these in McCoy cemeteries and a couple of McCoys in Hatfield cemeteries too, here and there. Later on in years, they became, very integrated. I'm actually descendants of both. I'm related to, through Randall and Devil Ants. But we're going back by, this is the slave section I showed you earlier, right here. And we're just going straight on out. Just follow the sign. Now, I've been up here before, and I can remember coming to this grave, and I didn't even know that I was related. until we did the, the ancestry. I didn't even know that I was related to him. I've been to Preacher Ansa's house. I've done tours there for years. And I knew I was related. Mom said that for years. But I didn't know how. The specifics. Sorry, out of breath a little bit. It's up a hill. A little bit of a hill there, anyhow. But anyhow, Mom said that we were related to both. And I didn't know the specifics of, how, who, what, where, when. But Heather did our genealogy and tracked it all down. Here's Basil Hatfield and Martha Hatfield right here in the Randall McCoy Cemetery. This is where Randall's at, ironically. But like I said, I've been up here before. Heather and I have been up here before doing videos on this sort of thing. And I knew I was related, and that kind of thing. But it's different once you see how. Once you see how you were related to these people, something in you changes. It's different. It's different somehow. Anyhow, we're going to head on back down. There's some more on out that way. And there's some more up that way too, as well. But we are heading back down. I just wanted to come up and show you Basil and Martha. Make sure we mention them. Can't come here and not mention the Hatfields in the McCoy Cemetery. Now, if I'm not mistaken, she was a McCoy, is how he wound up here. But, not 100% on that one. We kind of looked into it a little bit, but couldn't really find a whole lot of information about their lives and, that sort of thing, other than, their ancestry. But anyhow, I just wanted to bring you guys up here and show you these. Now watch some of this stuff, little tangled roots, that sort of thing. This time of year, how it is. West Virginia, they've been up here clearing these off, clearing some of the graves off. Kind of strange though, the famous graves, they get taken care of, but right over here, what about these guys? That's the fire department down there, by the way. Right down there. That's where the road is. A lot of history to this place. A lot of history to this place. Back into the early to mid 1800s. Let's just see if we can see any of the names or dates or anything on any of the slave stones. Nothing there. This one says T.J.H. Ewlands. And that one's worn off. Worn off. Worn off way too much to tell. And the aluminum thing is gone too. When they did the slave, when they went back and researched this and found a bunch of these slave names, like I told you earlier, notified the families and stuff, they put a lot of these little aluminum markers out here. But it's been years ago. There's Frank Waller. But they're just scattered all around through here. All the way out through the woods too. And here's one. T. Justice. Died November 29th, 1911. And there's an old one. Can't really tell, see if the aluminum plate has anything on it. Nope, it just has a number. 233. Some of them knocked over into the weeds. There's one back in the weeds. There's one back in the brush. And they're just scattered all through here. There's one in the weeds. C.H. Harmon, 1917. And they're just scattered. If you come up through here, you know, you come out through the woods and you'll see them, you know. They're just scattered all over the place. Some of them, that's the stone right there. That's the old headstone. And it's just laying flat. And there's one. There's someone's grave. And you can see there's nothing else there. Just that. That's the only marker there is. There's a 1904 Jeff Mullins. Okay, it may have been that part, might have been the slave. That doesn't really sound like slave names, but you know, it's a possibility of it, you know. No name. No name. No name. No name. Just scattered all over the place. There's the one back in the weeds. Died Hank Justice. Died 1911, looks like. And back in there. Back in there. I don't know if you can see that one. Back in the brush. Just a beautiful old graveyard. If there is such a thing as a beautiful graveyard. There she is. I see her up there sitting on the steps. Randall's grave. Randall, Sarah, and Roseanne. Kentucky Infantry. I didn't notice that. Huh. It's more or less state militia, that kind of thing. Interesting badge. You notice the cutout, like a badge, like a shield. And nothing on the back. That's all it says. Samuel L. Thompson. Company D, 39th Kentucky Infantry. That's all it says. Okay, well, we're going to head on up and go find Heather.
It's nice and breezy up here. You can see we're on top of a hill. Should be fall soon, right? Soon. So ironically, across from me is Dils. There it is. John Dils is the one that owned the York house that I showed earlier. He was a pretty successful businessman in Pikeville. His son-in-law was James York, who was also one of the lawyers involved in the Hatfield-McCoy Feud and he linked up with Perry Klein. He was the one who established this cemetery. He did own slaves, so I'm not sure how that worked, but he was opposed to slavery. But I've been in his house. It had slave quarters, and it's documented that he had slaves. So, but I wasn't there. I can't say what's what. Some people embraced him like family. I don't know. But he did allow African Americans to be buried here. So that's a good thing. But that is his tombstone. So, what do you think of the Dils Cemetery?
I think it's pretty cool. There's a lot of historic sites. Beautiful, beautiful place. Great views. For a cemetery, it's pretty cool.
I think we need to go to a state that has flat cemeteries. All the ones here are a hike and a half.
They're all up mountains, all of them. But I guess that's how you did it. You know, you saved the level flat ground for, you know, to build your house on and to farm and stuff like that. And did all the graveyards back up on the mountainside somewhere.
Yeah.
Dragged the coffins up as needed. You know, that's how they did it here. You can see the road where they came up. They literally just dragged the coffins from there.
Right.
You know, and take them up. That's how our family cemeteries are. You know, you do the
Yeah,
same
that's
thing.
true. Oh, take a nap. Well, not a dirt nap though. I'm awake.
We're above the ground. We're above the ground.
So I made a mistake, which is pretty rare. This is actually John Dils Cemetery grave, the one I was laying on. That's his wife Mary. So write it down, put it in the calendar. I don't make mistakes very often. This is John Dils, and I'm sorry, John. But thank you for checking out our video, and subscribe to help support us so we can do bigger and better things.
Thanks for watching.
Have a good day.